What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor. It is the 4th of July. We're recording on Monday.
Happy Independence Day to all our American friends.
Yeah, all Singaporeans based in America.
Yeah, usually Independence Day is they don't have NDP lah, but they do a lot of on the ground celebrations themselves, right?
Yeah, it's like a barbecue day where you grill some meats, watch the fireworks, get drunk, and you don't cluster together for one big ass parade or something, right?
Yeah. I think maybe that's not their style. They don't
maybe
like.
You should take a leaf from Singapore with our NDP coming back in full force this year.
Military parades and directed by like artists.
Yeah,
artists, hosted by artists as well.
I mean, the one reason why I feel a bit more compelled to watch NDP this year is because our good friend Rishi Budrani has been unveiled as the eye in the lineup of CMIO hosts for this year. He's the eye.
Yeah. Shout out to
he's
Rishi.
The host lah. I think shout out to Rishi.
Yeah, because I think it seems like a very normal thing, but again, I thought it was quite it's quite interesting that a non-media corp, non-actor person was selected for that. I mean, Rishi acts, but his main thing is stand-up comedy, right? As an art.
I mean, I think he's big. Go on.
His big what?
No, go on.
Hey, you already interrupted me. Just carry on. Carry on interrupting.
I don't know.
Just finish your line.
Fuck lah! It was a joke. Now it's going to lose the punchline and all.
Go for it.
No, because you were saying he's not a MediaCorp actor, right? But I was going to chime in and say I believe he got his big break as on Crime Watch lah, as the criminal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. That's the punchline. Got
in
it.
the moment, it made sense and it would have worked.
Yeah.
But yes, please carry on.
Yeah, before I was interrupted. Yeah, I was just saying that he's not like the typical, rise through the ranks of hosting and acting in MediaCorp and then finally became popular enough within the halls of MediaCorp to be pushed forward as the host of NDP. Because there's always been like the Joakim and what's the name? Sonia hosting it because they've risen through the ranks and they're relevant to young people and all that.
I think they're hosting it again this year.
Yeah. I think Sonia had to take a break last year because of the COVID situation, right?
Yeah.
She took a COVID photo during COVID. But Rishi sort of has been just doing his thing for 10 over years as a stand-up comedian. And he never really signed with the big corporations or anything. And now he's a host at NDP. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that'll be cool. But apart from that, how was your weekend, Terrence?
Yeah, pretty good. I think just family time, own time, just sleeping, the very uncle things. I would love to tell you that the opening of Maki was awesome and it was just so great to have partook in the opening of Maki. Yeah, but I wasn't invited. Neither did I have any friends that were going. So no Maki for me. How about you, man?
I also didn't go to Maki. It was wedding stuff. And I watched Top Gun 2 again.
Again? Wow.
Again.
You're such an interesting person to
do
the most commercial thing that everyone has done
very
a month ago and to do it again.
Always about new experiences and activities. Correct. But I will say that it was awesome the second time around also. And this time I went with my fiancé and a friend. And it was great.
Yeah. Do you look out for any specific Easter eggs or anything?
No. I took a pee break during one of the slower scenes. Apart from that, I didn't really utilize the knowledge I earned from the first one. I was just enjoying it for what it is. It was great. It was great.
You got drunk, I suppose.
No. Please. I thought of getting... I think I'm saving all my hangover ability for end of the year. During the wedding festivities.
Yeah, to make sure you stay up on your wedding night, right? Don't.
Is a dwindling.
Yeah, given what we last discussed.
Cheeky, Terence. Cheeky, Terence.
It's called cross-referencing.
Cheeky phrase, Terence. Yes.
Gotta make sure you don't end up in any cheeky situations.
Yeah, lah. My groomsmen also better behave, lah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But cool.
Cheeky situations.
But yeah. Before we jump into all the topics we're going to talk about, is there anything that we need to plug?
We're just going back to the basics, man. If you enjoyed this podcast, and if it has made you think, laugh, smile, or any other emotions inside, it would be great if you could share it with someone else who may not have heard of us, who may not have heard the podcast, because that's how we grow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Cool. All right, some hot topics to deal with.
Yeah, Monday. You know how Monday always is. It's the most exciting day of the week, and the news also is the most exciting.
Yeah.
And what is this? What is this news?
We're just going to be visiting the recent slate of news around coffee shops. Coffee shops being purchased, discoveries of $2 chai peng around the country, then another coffee shop being purchased at a ridiculous price, and some reports from hawkers who are just giving like insane accounts of rental increases. And the reason why is because I guess over the past couple of weeks there have been news that there was a Tampines coffee shop that was sold for a record 41.6 million. That was middle of June. A few days later, a coffee shop a few days later was sold for 40 million. And then now the identity of one of the owners has come up, but yeah, it was just interesting to check in on this.
No, I think the correct what happened was the Tampines one was sold about 2 weeks ago for 41.6 million. Then a coffee shop in Yishun was sold for 40 million. And then a few days ago, the buyer of the Tampines coffee shop also bought a nearby coffee shop near that one for another 16.8 million.
So can I just say that I got the first part correct, lah. The way you say, the correct one made it sound like I got it wrong. You just added on a fact.
Yeah, just left out the most recent development.
Yeah lah. It's very different from being wrong. Okay, don't question my timeline abilities.
Fine. You've omitted certain facts, but yes,
correct. So it's just. But why do you think people were talking about it, or like articles came out? I mean, property prices in Singapore always going up. What? You always see people buying GCB 41 million, 40 plus million. That's about the price of a GCB. Why is it such a big deal?
I think probably a lot of people, because they've always associated coffee shops with cheaper hawker fare that is available right around their houses, right? And not in a very centralized place like a hawker center. So it's a bit scary to think about the fact that these huge companies are swooping in and buying these coffee shops at insane prices, because the only way that they will make back their money is by raising rents, right? And once they raise the rents, the cost of that is going to will be passed down to the consumer as well. So you can say goodbye to cheapish hawker fare around your estate and households. Because I think for people who maybe are not from Singapore or don't understand the concept of a coffee shop, we're not talking about a place that sells like latte,
bagels,
that kind of coffee shop, bagels and lattes and stuff with avocado and all that, and truffled mushrooms and all. We're talking about like it's really a communal space, where maybe there are like 5 to 10 different hawker stores selling different types of food at relatively affordable prices to many people in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times these places are also focal meeting areas for for people living in the neighborhood. So you see a lot of uncles and aunties hanging out at these coffee shops, whether it's just having a coffee or just watching television, because there's a television showing the public channels there. Or sometimes even if they pay for the rights or football to watch football, you see people gathering there on weekends to watch football together. There's a communal experience. So I think a lot of Singaporeans are afraid that once all these once these cheaper options for food are not available to them, then they also basically lose that communal space as a place for them to get food and to hang out with their neighbors.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just to clarify the difference, I mean the makeup of a stall or what I mean. So okay, basically at its lowest unit, there's the food stall, which is run by a hawker. And then from Googling and reading up on the NEA and the SFA website, a coffee shop is essentially a smaller cluster of stalls. So like what you said, 5 to 10. I think the one in Tampines was 18. And a hawker center is like one of those huge as, Maxwell Food Center, Old Airport Road Food Center. That's a hawker center. So the ones that were purchased were coffee shops. Right.
That's right.
But okay, so I tried looking up like what is the how you say the parameters of these coffee shops, because in some way, like, is it owned by HDB? Is it owned by I don't know who owns it, or is it just considered like private property? Because they were talking about the rates it was purchased for like $6,000 per square foot, which you only hear when you're buying like residential property and all that lah. So are you aware of how it's powered? What is the back end policies and how it's governed?
From my basic reading and understanding, and it could be wrong, I believe HDB owns the land, right?
Yeah.
After they bought and developed it for public housing. So the land, but the land that they sort of set out for these communal facilities can be privatized. Can be privatized. So they can be sold off and purchased as individual properties to big corporations, like the corporations that have bought these coffee shops. So
I see.
there's nothing. I think they already then and currently these prices that they've been bought at, they were bought from other private owners.
Yeah.
They were not bought directly from HDB at these prices. So this generally reflects how landowners are thinking about property prices in Singapore.
So I think one of the reasons also why it was kind of like it got articles like that is because everybody knows that inflation is at an all-time high. Prices are increasing because of supply chain disruptions and all that shit. And I think I would go so far as to say that I think a lot of Singaporeans know that we have heard this thing where the low price of food that you can get at a coffee shop or a hawker center, it's going to be tough to last, right? I think even the past few years we've been saying that Singapore is expensive, but sometimes we forget how expensive Singapore is because we have access to like $3 meals, which for a developed city, a first world city, is fucking hard to find, right? And it almost feels like, how is this still possible in this day and age? So now when you see these kind of things, it's almost like, oh shit, is this the thing that we've been kind of like dreading for the longest time? Because when you read articles like this, they talk to the stall owners and like you hear accounts of like the stall rental moving from like 5K to 10K over the course of a few months. I think the last time there was a changeover in a coffee shop. Let me find the exact article. Like you imagine, it's going up like by 100%, no? And quite often, like the stall owners leave. And one article that caught my eye was like the guy who bought the Yishun coffee shop. He promises to not raise coffee and chai peng prices, lah. I was like, okay. That sounds a bit too good to be true. And like what you said, the company that bought it is this company called Changcheng Group, and the guy who said that is Ricky Kok, who's the founder of the group. And he established it in 2001, and essentially it has over 160 shops in Singapore. Amongst that is like chai peng stalls, seafood specialists, roasted meats and all. So when I read the title, I was like, okay, here's the owner. Okay, he's saying he's not going to raise coffee and chai peng. And then, but he also said adjusting rental price, that he will be adjusting rental prices at a coffee shop. Then I was like, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're going to be adjusting rental prices, but the chai peng and coffee not going to increase. But then he owns a chain of chai peng shops. And most of the time, the owner of the coffee shop, or like, they run the drink stall, right? So he can still keep those prices down. But a headline like this, it kind of like, then you realize, oh shit, he's saying something that might be true, but what about the rest, and that's where it feels it's going to be tough for those prices to stay down.
Yeah. So I think, what you're saying is a concern that I've also seen in comments and all, that they own coffee chains, they own chai peng stalls. So probably for them, they can continue running these two stalls, the drink stall and the chai peng stall.
Yeah.
And they can keep the prices because there's economies of scale, given that they run a lot of these stores, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
For every other store, they'll be insisting on probably raising rents for the neighbors. And I guess it's just his way of managing the PR around this, because I guess there's a lot of questions on who are these coffee shop owners, and shouldn't the government be stepping in to stop this? This is the death of hawker culture in Singapore because of landlords and wanting to raise rents, which is for a lot of businesses in Singapore, rent is a huge expense and it's the killer expense, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's where it feels like, and that's why I was wondering, what are the things in place to keep the prices of this, I wouldn't say regulated, because ultimately, Singapore also needs to be open to business, and friendly to entrepreneurs and companies. But then when you see these kind of things, especially because the people who go to coffee shops and hawker centers, they tend to live around the area, and you only find this in the heartlands, right, in HDB estates. So
That's right.
it just sounds like, wow, it's crazy. And like, I found the quote I was looking for. I think it's the one at Tampines. So the owner of Zaleha Food Corner, she said the rent doubled from 6K to 12K since the new owner took over in April 2022. 6K to 12K, and she has had to raise prices between 20 cents to 50 cents. Don't know whether they can pay the workers. And amongst that mix, there was a new stall that came in. It was a mala stall, and they said the $12,000 rent didn't deter them. But I guess it's inevitable that we will see the stalls change in nature. Like mala wasn't a thing like 10, 20 years ago, right? Or at least not a thing in Singapore.
Yeah, it wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, so it just feels like, wow, and I think, I'm sure you've also been to one of those coffee shops that has come up only in recent years, where it was, okay, a coffee shop needs to be here, maybe a central kitchen cooks everything, and the people there who are working there are not the people who started those stalls. And it feels different, for sure. Right?
Yeah.
It feels different.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest concern, is just that these places that used to be very focal points for the community will no longer be there, or they'll just feature very overpriced. I don't say overpriced, but the atas, expensive kind of artisanal food that you can't eat every day either, right? And so it's not like you'll be enticed to just go there and hang out and have a coffee or anything like that,
So then how are you? So then how are you approaching this? Are you like, you know what, this is inevitable? It's progress. There's no way we can have progress without stuff like this happening. Or are you like, I'm gonna go to fucking eat at every hawker stall I can for the rest of the year, as many times as possible?
I guess one thing is that I have. I think the tough medicine to swallow is that we probably, as consumers, do need to pay higher prices for hawker food. Like, if we really want it to be more sustainable for hawkers, right? And you know, I'll probably get screamed at for suggesting something like that, right? You know, privilege and everything. But the truth is, you can't keep subsidizing hawker food and hawkers forever either, you know. Because there's this mindset that hawker food is cheap, and it doesn't. And part of that, you know, in our whole meritocratic society, is that if it's cheap means that it's easy to do, anyone can do it, and you know, it there's not much skills or barriers to entry required to do it, right? And so it's not. Coupled with that, the idea that it's cheap is that it's also not a respected craft or respected skill that we are willing to pay money for, right? You contrast this with like someone in Japan who says, I want to be, you know, a sushi chef when I grow up, or I want to be to do sushi or something like that. I think it's completely, people around the world will just completely respect, oh, you know, this guy is really dedicated to his craft, and you know, it's a respectable skill and everything that he's learning, right? Because, you know, because of how sushi is marketed as a very premium food around the world, But then if someone tells you, oh, I want to be a hawker, I want to do the best laksa, cook the best laksa ever in the world, generally people is like, oh, okay, well, if your laksa is expensive and more than $5 to $6, nobody's going to pay for it, and it's going to be very tough for you to survive. You know, that's the general sense you get from like reading comments and all, people mocking, almost mocking any hawker who dares to raise prices, right? So, but I mean, unfortunately, you know, the in Singapore we tend to price people's skills based on how much they charge us, right? And because of that, we've always never shown enough respect to our hawker culture, and that's why hawker culture, everyone is saying that hawker culture will die, and unless something is really done about it, it will become probably just it'll be just part of our history, lah. That, you know, that at one point, you know, we had a hawker culture that was a UNESCO heritage recognized skill and everything. But today here's your more expensive artisanal toast that you're willing to pay for, that you're willing to pay $20 for. But but when it comes to hawker food, we're not willing to pay for it, you know.
But I mean, you bring up,
and so I mean, just to conclude, I am rambling a little bit about it, but I am saying that it does take both hands to clap a bit, you know, if we want to talk about rescuing the hawker culture and all these these communal spaces like food courts and all, we need to be willing to pay a bit more for hawker food.
But then the thing about, there is the tier of lower income individuals who do rely on low price hawker food, right? So if it goes up across the board, then they will be impacted a lot.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's no one perfect answer to it, but I mean, a solution to that is to give them more support, you know, food stamps, food vouchers, things like that. I mean, you know, but we can't. Why is it that the onus to provide for low income people falls squarely on the hawkers' shoulders, right? If we're talking about social safety net, that should benefit anyone who falls on hard times and all that. That should come from everyone's pockets and not just from the hawkers' pockets, right? So it's not fair that the hawkers, we say, hey, how about the low income people? But then we're relying on the hawkers and the legislators to create it for them. Whereas for us, like, when you take $5, every time you pay $5 for a coffee at Starbucks, take out another $5 and give that to, you know, someone who's on the street selling tissue, and that pays for their lunch for the day as well, right? So I again, I'm not trying to be to paint myself as a saint that I give a lot of charity, but I'm just saying that I think the perception of our hawker culture matters a lot, and even the discussion about these coffee shops, all that, I'm seeing a lot of the same things where people are saying they'll never be willing to pay more than $5 to $6 for any kind of hawker food, and that's why the hawker culture will die and things like that, like, you know.
Yeah,
So
that one I think.
It's just
yeah, there needs to be some sort of I don't know what in place that allows people who maybe are able to pay a bit more to pay, and the people who can't to just still get the same meal. Yeah, maybe food stamps, maybe because like honestly, we have spoken about so much about the Chai Peng Nia office, and I'm sure everybody has their one or two hawker dishes where you eat, you're like, wow, this is damn shiok. It's so many places that I've eaten like I don't know a cafe or restaurant. The food is nowhere close, and the Chai Peng we pay like $4, right? Maybe there needs to be somewhere, and this is kind of like the existential question we have all been hearing for years. Like everybody wants low cost hawker food, but then like I think what you said, like the impression is like, how can I pay like $8 for Chai Peng, even if it's like amazing $8 Chai Peng immediately. I mean, now you see headlines, people paying $9 for nasi padang, $10 for Chai Peng. All it makes the headlines. Because there's the thing, $10 Chai Peng, how is that possible? And for people who are listening, maybe are not familiar with Chai Peng, which we have said like 29 times in this whole podcast, it is just a dish where one plate of rice and then a bunch of dishes in front of the auntie or uncle. You point at 2 or 3 dishes and then they put it on, and then they use their algorithm to decide how much to charge.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things like it's almost you can see it being inevitable that prices will go up, but then if like I guess what is sad or confusing is that we've been having the same discussion for so many years, but to the layperson like me, where I'm not aware of the intricacies of how HDB, NEA, URA and all are dealing with this, it still feels like, wow, this hawker thing is the same thing and nothing has changed. Like, okay, rental prices go up. The prices of the food can't go up, and then the hawkers and the stall owners get fucked.
Yeah. You know what's the scary thing? Is that like how when you see Joseph Schooling, the moment he won an Olympic gold medal, the whole country sort of got behind this idea that Singapore can also produce world-class athletes and everything, right? And we there's a much bigger movement to support Singapore sports compared to pre-schooling. In fact, I would say there was a BS period before schooling and after schooling period for Singapore sports. There's just a feeling in the air that we should support local athletes, with big conglomerates, pasting Joseph Schooling's face all over their products and using him as a shining example of a Singaporean who was made good overseas, right? And brought back international glory. So, after our hawker culture was officially recognized as a UNESCO heritage custom or practice, right? I can't remember what the exact term was. You would think that in terms of like global recognition, shouldn't that be like that's like near the pinnacle already, right? But there wasn't that same enthusiasm to like really re-examine our relationship with hawker centers, hawker culture, and think about these things, whether we should be paying more. Prices for everything around the world are going up. How come we are so resistant to changes in hawker prices and the ingredient prices and all that, right?
It's like it's like repeal 377A . We just cannot.
In what sense? As an analogy?
there's this like it's been this way for so long. We are not ready to change it .
Yeah,
we're not ready to change
and
it.
Maybe it is. Yeah, the problem it is a political minefield also, right? To tell people that hey, to save this culture, you kind of everyone needs to bite the bullet and understand that you need to pay more, right?
Yeah.
But we're doing it by raising GST and then offsetting it by giving rebates and vouchers and all that, right? So I mean, for hawker culture, even after getting an international accolade, like being recognized by UNESCO, we're still so like, hawker food cannot cost more than $3.50 or $4. If not, it's like nobody will patronize you, that kind of
But
thing.
I will say that UNESCO has a different kind of buzz than being an Olympic gold medalist. Nobody grows up thinking,
Correct. Yeah.
I want to grow up to be a UNESCO heritage participant. Right.
Correct. I mean, that's why it's a culture, and then culture is just harder to define or to rank alongside other cultures, right? Other cultural products. So that's the hard part about this whole thing. And I think it's you read like KFC Toast rants about the hawker culture in Singapore, and you get a sense of like, there's frustration not only about the regulatory or the landlord side, but there's also frustration how Singaporeans are viewing our own cultural product.
Yeah, because I mean, just to go back to the example you brought up earlier about the sushi thing, because in Japan, sushi is like one of their prized exports, it's famous around the world. It always implies a certain level of quality, but Japan also has their fair share of like the heartland food. The stalls in the equivalent of heartlands there. I'm just curious how that is managed, like not just in Japan, in other countries as well. The street food, because sushi, even in Japanese culture, it is still seen. I guess there's a range, You have like the crazy expensive, but the more street version of sushi. In Singapore, we don't have one particular dish that around the world people know, like laksa or chicken rice. I remember I brought my American friends to eat chicken rice when I was studying there. They're like, "Why is the chicken cold? Why is your food cold?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Shut the fuck up, okay? Don't insult the chicken rice. Don't insult the chicken rice." But we don't have that one dish that is uniquely like I don't know, what would you call sushi? Sushi is not a dish, right? It's a what? It's a family of dishes, or a way of, I don't know, a cuisine, a style of making stuff. Because you get sushi and then you get a whole bunch of sushi. You don't get like laksa or chicken rice and a whole bunch of things underneath, right?
But I mean, it's a full meal, right? It's like you can have a full meal just by eating sushi, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, I mean, I would consider a dish, right? Like, can be a lot of different types of fish or rice, but ultimately it's the same pattern, the same way it's served and everything.
So I guess sushi, according to Wikipedia, is a Japanese dish prepared of vinegared rice with some sugar and salt, accompanied by a variety of ingredients.
Yeah.
Sushi was only apparently invented in 1824. Wow. So in about 200 years, we can expect to have like laksa across the world.
Or just gone forever already, in its current iteration.
Wow.
Sad.
Sad, yeah. But yeah, man.
So I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough one, It's a tough one. We're not here to say that landlords are the worst thing in the world, and free market is the worst thing. But at the same time, none of this is sustainable, Yeah.
I know. We have at least one resident hawker, Yalla Butter, who has chimed in on our Reddit in the past. So we would appreciate your thoughts, or if anyone else has any other thoughts on this issue, or will be willing to inform us or educate us on things that we're not the most familiar with, please just head on over to our Reddit. The link is in the show notes.
Yes. But that
wonderful.
Said, we talk about appreciating talent in Singapore, and sometimes we don't appreciate our talent unless it has made it overseas and come back and all that. But in the cases that we do appreciate local talents, right, we are just as quick to also tear them down, right? So this is in relation to our second story, which is what is this story, Harsh?
It revolves a certain busker called Jeff Ng, who in recent weeks, I believe, has suddenly become like super famous. I never knew of him until just a few weeks ago when I saw pictures of the crowds watching him perform at the Cathay in Singapore near Dhoby Ghaut. And I think like just maybe 2 weeks ago, there were 4,000 people who showed up to watch this busker, Jeff Ng. He's a musician who's been in the industry locally for quite a few years. I think since 2014, 2013, 2015. And yeah, he has dreams to become a musician. He started uploading his videos on TikTok. And when things opened up, crowds could gather, people started watching him play lah. And it started to get a lot of momentum. And I was like, oh shit, who is this guy? 4,000 people to come watch him. And he was talking about holding a concert in August. But then just over the past few days, certain accounts emerged about his behavior before he got famous as a musician. But the straw that broke the camel's back was an account by his ex-girlfriend. It's like a 3,000 word Facebook post on 1st July where she starts off by saying that he's the worst person she's ever met. And she goes on to account her experiences as his partner of almost 3 years. And she was saying, he was very abusive, manipulative, and just screenshots of how he would miscall her like 20 times in the middle of the night and how it seemed like a very toxic relationship. And then since this past weekend, he was supposed to perform on Saturday at the Cathay, and he announced a last-minute cancellation because of the rising numbers of COVID. But who knows what happened? And that's where it's at now. Like what you said, as quickly as he became famous, now he's almost is he cancelled? So that's where we're at,
Pretty crazy, fast. Such a quick turn of events.
Yeah, and there was even someone who posted. I think the spiciest article that covered it was Asia One. Asia One, they cover news, but they also quite gossipy. They had screenshots from the ex-girlfriend, but also posts of people elsewhere, like on Reddit, saying that from a anonymous musician saying that he's quite the diva on the circuit, and venues rarely accept him because he would scold patrons if they talk during his set and all. Then his current wife replied to the post by Lina Ang saying that, he has a changed man, he's a wonderful husband. And she also kinda scolded in the comments.
Yeah, but scolded by in what sense?
Like people saying, you should keep quiet because you are also very proud and and you are equally arrogant when you treat the retailers, customer service, or frontline. Coming to a retail store, you do not want to join the queue and expect to be attended immediately like your husband. So that's the context. But what are your thoughts, Terence?
I mean, I was pretty impressed that during COVID and everything, post-COVID he's been able to rack up quite a large audience at the Cathay. In recent weeks, a lot of news circulating the Cathay has generally been bad news. That the cinema, the Cathay cinema at the Cathay is going to shut down and be replaced by a pop-up by the projector. There's just the general vibe is that nobody is going out to these places anymore. Nobody is watching movies. Nobody's hanging out at that area that's stretched between the Cathay and is it Sota? Sota is there, right?
Yeah,
the School
Sota.
of the Arts.
Yeah,
and that place has I think you and I, we got a lot of memories of that space because actually we filmed quite a lot of videos in that whole area before, right? In all the years that we were doing YouTube and all that. So yeah, I felt generally quite sad. But when I saw the videos of how he was able to attract a very large group of people to there just to hear him busk, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. If he's this homegrown singer who started from busking around Orchard and then now is starting to get noticed and getting his due, not at a very young age of 19 or anything, but at the age of 32 after plying his trade for 11 years in bars and all that. So I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool story. If he actually makes it big after this. But yeah, this. But when I saw the stuff being written about him by his ex-girlfriend and all that, I felt a bit just maybe it's just bad timing or bad karma or something like that, Some of these things have come back to bite him. I think the ex-girlfriend one, I mean, it sounds really terrible, but at the same time, you got to remember it's an ex-girlfriend, right? And you're only hearing her side of the story. And there definitely, I mean, there's a reason why she's an ex-girlfriend, right? So you kind of need to take that with a pinch of salt. But actually, the other accounts of how he behaves, as a performer, to people, to his audience, to other people in the industry, all that to me is a bit more concerning, right? But at the same time, we've also heard like there are people who are very talented who do behave like a bit more diva at work and everything, right? So will he be able to survive this storm on social media? Let's wait and see, lah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my thought. Well, how about you? What do you think?
I was curious to see what the ex-girlfriend said, and she did go into quite some detail, lah. And she did also put a disclaimer that, I'm sorry if this post triggers the other victims. And she did say that she never understood toxic relationships until she was in one. And while I do also feel that, okay, this is just her POV, and this kind of he says, she says thing is always tough. It does sound like I've known people in relationships like that, lah. And if it's true, it's like, wow, that's not good. But I just found it like I think it's sad, but it's also I mean, nowhere could I find how many years ago this was, right? I hope he has changed, and people are capable of change, lah. If I try and be optimistic. So when I saw this, I was like, oh shit. It's like, man, it's like there's a moment. Unless you have been a wonderful person your whole life, it's better to not get famous, lah. Maybe, in some way. So yeah, but this is tricky because if she really went through something horrible, also don't want to trivialize that. But it's just one of those, you read it, you're like, it's just shitty all around.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the classic. A lot of the behaviors that she was pointing out sounds like the classic narcissist, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you read this, you're like, okay, you either know someone like this or you have heard someone who's done this kind of shit. So it's not too far-fetched. You can imagine it.
Yeah, I totally imagine it. And you haven't experienced this kind of thing before, right?
Thankfully, no. But I know of people
I've experienced in the workplace this kind of people as well. And seen the kind of the kind of grip that they have on their loved ones and everything also. And it's very poisonous, So I totally empathize with the ex-girlfriend. But at the same time, there's a we just saw like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, come out a very ugly defamation lawsuit and everything as well, right? In some ways, you have to say that this guy is he's getting his reputation is being dragged through the mud a little bit here, right? Not encouraging him to pursue any legal action or whatever, but I do think that he does need to answer for certain things in the court of public opinion. And maybe it's good that his wife has come out and said things, but the wife also seems to be getting scolded, like you said. So I'm not sure. Maybe people who have had more positive interactions with him in recent years can also come forward and vouch for him. I think that's always helpful to someone who is not so invested in his success, like his wife or what, right? I mean, not much else you can do right now, but in social media, but maybe keep a low profile. But if there are people willing to vouch for you, to have them also come forward and say something good.
But even then, it's just tricky because to vouch for that person also, then you are associating yourself to someone who maybe you never knew of his behavior in other situations or other scenarios. You know, is
correct.
this is the musical equivalent of Ivan Lim. You know, the PAP candidate who was thrust into the limelight, and then people came out saying that, hey, this guy's an asshole. He never smiled at me last time. Then he cannot taken off, right? He cannot taken off. Correct. So maybe this is you know, like how you read about the origins of religion and all. Religion in some way, like it also helped people stay in check, right? Because for fear of repercussions in the afterlife. In this day and age, maybe you don't even need to wait for the afterlife. You know, you better be a good fucking person, because suddenly you get your 15 minutes of fame, or maybe now it's like 30 seconds of fame. All this shit is going to come and bite you in your ass. Right.
Yeah.
So
but there's nobody who will be, nobody is ever
exactly
completely a saint, right? So yeah, I mean, even yourself, myself, and all that. It's impossible to not have anybody have something bad to say about you, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's why maybe there needs to be a time period. If it's time period.
Correct. I think anything more than like 7 years, like you can't bitch about it on social media anymore, right?
I would say even 5, man. 5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
5 years. But then
5 years like that. So.
Then there needs to be a level. If you never smile at someone 6 years ago, then anyone complaining you can fuck off, lah. But if you did something much worse, so then there needs to be a chart of how many years must pass before you are absolved of something shitty you did, lah. And it is in relation to how shitty that thing is.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so
that's right. Yeah.
So,
but that situation, so how? I mean, what was the most immediate thing that you would recommend for Jeff Ng?
I think keep a low profile for now, lah.
Really, yeah. But I mean, he's in the news now. He's basking in the limelight.
I mean, he apologized already. He put an apology already. And I think people forget things so fast, man, these days.
Yeah.
If he comes out now, I don't know. If he comes out now, like there was some newspaper interviewed the people who showed up for his gig on Saturday, not knowing that it got cancelled, and they said they would pay to watch him. Of course, people always say they will pay until they actually have to pay. But he still has his hardcore supporters, lah. But it has definitely taken a hit, lah. And I guess because I was wondering also, why would the ex-girlfriend post something like this on Facebook? In some way, like any case of trauma, like closure is a part of the process, right? Maybe this was cathartic in some way, or maybe if you feel like really wronged by someone who escaped unpunished, and you see them bear the fruits of success, maybe it's like, no, this cannot happen. I need to tear them down or something. Yeah, it's just wow. And that's the issue with Facebook, like you just see this come up, and then Instagram, but there's nothing more beyond that, lah. And then everybody's just left to plug the holes and the gaps and make educated guesses like us, lah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough one, I think, because especially like the relationship one is a he say she say, right? And maybe just if anything, for him as a person, for her as a person as well, as difficult as it might be, maybe they need to meet up and just have a reconciliation about things, because it's clear that she has not been able to move on, right? Or at least she's not moved past the trauma of being with him. He claims that he was a different person in his 20s and probably treated his earlier girlfriends differently, which I can understand. That people do change, right? People do change from their prior experiences. It's like sometimes maybe breaking up with her was the knock on the head that he required in order to change, and that's why he's happily married today. But yeah, I mean, it's very clear that she's not moved on or moved past the trauma that he's allegedly inflicted on her, lah.
Yeah,
and I don't know if anything that shows some kind of maturity is for the two of them to actually be able to talk through their differences and say, I wish you all the best for your life, and then vice versa, lah. And hopefully not slack each other off on social media or be unhappy that one person is doing well and the other person is not doing, and want to pull the other person down, right?
So you're saying we should get them both on our podcast and do like a Dr. Phil? Is it? Maybe that's what the natural evolution for our podcast. It's first
like
it's yalla butt.
Safe space for them to meet.
It's yalla butt between us and the news, but then we can have a sister platform where it's yalla butt between you and your estranged human friend, partner, spouse.
Yeah, correct.
Where you fight your inhibitions to do what your gut is telling you and to bring people together.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I feel for Jeff Ng also lah. Yeah, I mean, there's I don't know about you, but yeah, I used to listen to I used to hang out a lot of these live music places, and I see a lot of talented people in Singapore, right? Like shout out to like the Surath from Reverie and all, who used to play at the now defunct Wala Wala. And these guys like Surath was like, if you close your eyes and hear while you hear him sing, you think like you're listening to Bryan Adams himself.
In fact,
at certain points.
A recording of his song had more video views on YouTube than the original Bryan Adams song, right?
Yeah, something like that. He did a cover that ended up like getting a lot of attention, even from like Bryan Adams' management himself or something.
Yeah.
And like I always felt like, hey, there's talent like this in Singapore. If they did their own originals or what, they could easily, be a household name around the world and all that as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, they just don't get their break on social media. And it seems like Jeff Ng has got his break on social media. And I'm hoping also that that he'll be able to survive this current storm and then continue to ride the wave a little bit. Because there is a route to success from Singapore in the Mando pop or Chinese pop scene. And he hopefully he can ride that.
But I also hope that if he's really not the nicest person and if those things are true, I hope he has changed. And I hope he is as awesome a husband as his current wife says he is.
Yeah. But you don't believe that there's anything that all publicity is good publicity, man. That now that people are talking about him more, even as a bit of a diva and all, that comes with like, it's like Steve Jobs has a legendary temper because he's Steve Jobs,
Yeah, but legendary temper in pursuit of like the best product or computer ever is very different from temper in a relationship where maybe you were emotionally abusing your partner. I don't think that is as coveted. Like, Steve Jobs is an asshole at work, but he created something magical.
Yeah, but he was also, he practically, he has such a bad relationship with his actual daughter, right?
But that one came to light later. That one came to light later already. Later.
It's even worse. He hid it for so long. He's such an asshole to his own daughter, refused to recognize her.
Correct. So, but that was like, so he bought, I think when it comes to personal relationships, if you're an asshole, that one hard. I think that one, the publicity is not good. Not good. Any that kind of publicity, not good. Any other thing, most other things, I think still can, I will still vouch for no publicity is bad publicity. But when it comes to personal relationships or relationships with other people, that one tough bro.
Oh, you don't think it should be just, it's a private affair. Should we just be left to them?
No, I'm saying like, you're saying the belief that no publicity is bad publicity. I'm saying publicity for your relationships gone wrong. That one tough That one tough.
Yeah. I think it's hard to change the public's perception of you as a bully and things like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now almost.
Like when.
What?
No, I was going to say like when David Beckham was in town recently. I think like Jade Rasif and Christabel Chua and I think I don't know who else also, but they were just raving about they're raving about how nice he was, right?
Yeah,
like he was helping to move furniture. He was making sure that everybody was he got everybody's name or something like that, they really focused on how nice he was, right? And that seemed to go a lot longer in terms of like the media coverage than anything else he did. So yeah, I guess that comes with the territory when you're a celebrity, people are looking at you to just be basic courteous human being as well, and then that brings you a lot further than anything else.
So Terence, are you a nice person?
No, I'm not. I'm not. That's why I'm not. Maybe that's why I'm not the Steve Jobs or David Beckham or so.
I can't tell whether you're being sarcastic or not.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, who walks around thinking that they're a nice person? That person's probably the biggest asshole out there, yeah.
Is it?
I think so. You think you're a nice person, then you're a big asshole, probably.
No, I think I can be nice. I can be not nice, but I wouldn't categorically say I'm not nice. You would categorically say you're not nice.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a nice person. Yeah. Just knowing the thoughts that I have sometimes when I walk around and all that.
But thoughts different. My thoughts also all fucked up, man. My thoughts are damn fucked up, man.
Yeah. Then you're not a nice person, Let's just face it,
No, that's nonsense.
Stop trying to be like the teacher pleaser.
Don't give me
the
shit. People are judged on their actions, okay?
But if
everyone has fucked up thoughts.
If you have self-awareness,
everyone has
so if you have
thoughts.
self-awareness of yourself, you shouldn't be thinking you're a nice person.
No, I say I can be nice.
You should aspire to try and be nicer.
I say I can be nice. In fact, you should stop underestimating yourself, Terence. You can be nice. You can also be an asshole, but you can be nice. It's not
underestimating. It's called self-awareness. It's called self-awareness.
No, you know why? I figured you out. You're saying you're not a nice person so that you have leeway to just not be nice. I figured you out. You're saying
I don't need leeway.
No, so that you can be like, I'm not nice, what? I'm not nice, what? I
think it's important to have self-awareness and not to walk around thinking that, I'm a very nice person, Then that's why you can be an asshole about things and like.
I never say I'm very nice.
So you just got to, yeah.
I say I can be nice. Same way you can be nice. Don't get out of jail card.
Everyone can be nice.
I'm self-aware enough to know I'm not nice.
In general,
nonsense.
If tomorrow you have to lay out. If tomorrow you have to lay out the books at the gates
I've done many not nice things.
Whether you get it or not.
Yeah,
you're gonna walk in and say, "I'm a very nice guy." Are you gonna do that? That's the question.
See, you are quoting me wrongly. I said I can be nice. I never say I'm a very nice guy.
No. Can you just tomorrow you have to lay out your books in front of.
No, because the world is not that binary.
I'm a nice guy.
It doesn't mean you're either very nice or you're not nice. You can be a range. But you are categorically saying you are not nice.
So you can be an asshole also, lah.
Of course, I can be a big asshole. That's what I said earlier, what?
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier.
I won't go around saying that I'm a nice guy, lah.
I never say that also. I say I can be nice.
Yeah, but I won't start by saying I won't. Maybe I won't start by saying I can be nice.
You asked me whether I am nice. What? I'm answering your question.
So that's the difference between you and me, like you walk around starting by saying I can be a nice guy. I will walk around saying like I can be an asshole.
No, then the difference is you don't answer questions directly. Yeah, you ask me, am I a nice guy? I say yeah, I can be nice. I ask you, are you a nice guy? You say you're not a nice guy.
No, I'm not. I can be an asshole. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how I answer, and that's how you answer, Everyone be the judge. Be the judge yourselves of who you think is the nice guy, who you think is the real asshole.
You are be your own judge. Twisting the truth of what you said just now. I'm just saying that I asked you a question, you said you're not a nice guy straight up, and I found that surprising, Yeah.
Because it's just maybe it's a matter of like what we say, the perception thing. I start by looking at I can be an asshole. Whereas you start by I'm a nice guy. Yeah, I can be a nice guy.
I did not. I said I can be a nice guy. Because you asked me, am I a nice guy? So I answered directly. I don't go beat around the bush with this false, like, I'm so humble and self-aware. I'm an asshole.
Different
you think
way
I'm
of
nice,
thinking about it.
Thank you. I think, but generally I'm an asshole.
I mean, it feeds very much into I think, the general, the way we view things also, right? I'm a bit more of the cynic and the kind of thing about things.
Yeah.
So even for myself, I also think of it that way. I look at myself and I'm like, I'm such a jerk at times and all that.
Yeah, but I also think you can be nice.
Yeah. There are occasions probably that I can be nice.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about the self-perception side of things. Whereas you walk around the glass half full and everything.
Yeah, but isn't that also not the best thing?
I'm a nice guy today, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I can be nice. What's wrong with admitting that?
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
in some way, it's also not good that you walk around thinking you're not nice, because then when you do a not nice thing, you're like, oh, this is me. I'm not nice. This is what I do. And that's not good also. Right?
I mean, pros and cons both ways.
Pros and cons.
It's just different way of viewing things.
But the moment you start paraphrasing what I say, that's when I'm like, yo, Terence, don't be naughty. Don't be naughty.
No, that's why I'm retreating. I'm taking it back to, okay, it's just the different ways that we answer the question. Are you a nice guy?
Yeah, correct. So then you don't need to paint all that other things you said just now about me having lack of self-awareness.
Objection, sustained, objection sustained.
Okay. Can.
I'm leaving. I say I just leave it to everyone. The way for you, everyone listening, how do you answer the question, am I a nice person? You think about it.
Everyone should ask.
I understand
yourself,
that there's a spectrum of answers. Harish is on the I can be nice guy side. Terence is on the I can be asshole side. And where on the spectrum are you? Right? Yeah.
Where on the spectrum are you in terms of directly answering questions posed to you also? It's a very reflective questions to ask.
Correct, exactly. Reflective. I think that's the key word. Reflective.
Yeah, reflective. Everyone should reflect.
Yeah, everyone should reflect. Yeah,
reflect. Everyone should reflect. Every day, just reflect. Cool, man.
But, going back to it, Jeff Ng, I think time for reflection, time for taking stock. And there is a COVID wave going around, so that already shows that he is a bit concerned about his fans also gathering in big groups. So that's a good start, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
But cool.
Right. So
talking about questions and comments and everything.
Yeah. Have you received any Shiok or nice comment the past few days or not?
I think but then long time listening posted a funny meme about how they look when they're listening to Yalla Butt in public lah. You know. And then there were some comments and then the responses is from beautiful at 8182. Why is this true? I really encountered your podcast by accident and discovered the high level substance and meaningful discussion of all these global and Singapore topics. It's my therapy. Thanks again for your hard work. So I mean it's pretty cool that there are still people discovering our podcast and appreciating the discussions we have, even though sometimes we go on tangents about are we nice guys and things like that. So, but these are discussions I enjoy having as well. But they are a bit tangential, and maybe in the future we might try to take steps to address these as well, in terms of like every time we want to go on a slight tangent like that, it's a bit like it takes away the time from actual discussion about the topic also, right? So we're thinking about things like that. Yeah.
But I mean, maybe the listeners also enjoy those sort of tangential discussions.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that it's just something we are cognizant of also. Yeah.
There are probably some people who are like, oh my god, these fucking idiots are arguing about who is nicer. Why are they reflecting this on my time?
Talk about self-awareness, and then the two of them just spending like 20 minutes arguing about who's nice
more
guy.
Self-aware. Who's more self-aware?
Yeah. When they all know nice guys finish last.
Yeah. That's why we are finishing the podcast last lah. All your other podcasts will finish first. Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, cool.
And we take so long.
Yeah.
How about you? What is your one-shot comment?
My one-shot comment came to us via DM, so I will keep the sender anonymous. But they just sent us this website called the flipside.io, which it's quite an interesting website. They basically present any hot topic and consolidate all the talking points from either side. So the most recent one was like the Roe versus Wade. There's different points about from the left and from the right. And the website, they also talk about their method for coming up with just highlighting the arguments on both sides. I think there's a team of researchers behind it. So quite interesting. Flipside.io.
Flipside.io.
Yeah, I'm just going to check it out. And like a lot of news, they just cover both things. And these kind of websites I always find interesting because this is what you rarely find in media. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I see.
Yeah, man.
Interesting.
So thanks to the listener who sent that over to us.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And the one
my one
thing.
Shiok thing is, my one Shiok thing is I realized that there's a bit of a, now would have been probably the time that we're watching by right lah. This year we were supposed to be watching the World Cup at this time lah, right? Typically it's this every 4 years in the summer, but because the World Cup is in Qatar this year, it's actually going to be in the what is winter for everyone else in December. So there's a bit of a dearth of like sports stories lah now this couple of weeks. But thankfully, even without Roger Federer, Wimbledon has had its fair share of interesting stories. And I think right now a lot of people are looking at Nick Kyrgios. I don't know if you know this guy.
Yeah,
he's the Australian player who he's known to be very talented, but at the same time he's such a brat on court. He says and does a lot of crazy things on court that have pissed off a lot of people, but also have won him a lot of fans. So he's actually playing well, and he's beating very good players like Tsitsipas and all that. But every match that he plays, there's controversy because he does the underhand serve or various things there. But the most recent one was like he beat the number 4 seed Tsitsipas fair and square, and apparently like the Tsitsipas refused to even acknowledge him during the handshake. And then I think in tennis it's especially at Wimbledon and all is a very you need to acknowledge each other as players and all that, and
like just mutual respect,
look each other in
right?
the eye. Yeah, mutual respect. But so for Tsitsipas to not have acknowledged him was a big thing, and then they didn't show it on TV. They didn't even show that handshake on TV or anything. So yeah, there was quite a lot of controversy around it, and it's just interesting to watch. How Nick Kyrgios is navigating a place like Wimbledon, which is all about pomp and circumstance and respect and all that. But he's like almost the opposite of that, lah.
Did he have something to do with the attire also? Like he didn't want to wear the all white garb or something?
I don't know about him,
said something about that, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But there's always some interesting story every time he plays. And now he's into the second week of Wimbledon, so he's gonna go up against the bigger names, so let's see how he does. I mean, remember he at one point he even beat Nadal at the French Open as well.
Oh, is it?
So he's one of the few guys that was able to beat Nadal.
And who's still in the running?
I mean, Nadal is there, Djokovic is there. A lot of big names, and then there's also the story of the French player Harmony Tan, who started off by beating Serena Williams in the first round, and now she's all the way into the second round of Wimbledon as well. So yeah, she's another name that everyone's watching as well.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So
but Federer didn't take part. Federer didn't take part.
No, Federer's still recovering from surgery and all that.
I see.
It's some interesting names, interesting stories at this year's Wimbledon.
I see.
Yeah.
My one Shiok thing is something that I wasn't sure I was gonna get into, but I'm glad I did. It is the latest season of Stranger Things on Netflix. Have you seen it?
Have you watched it? Yes, I am into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I just haven't spoken about it because I'm waiting to finish it, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't sure whether I would enjoy it, and yeah, it felt like there wasn't a calling to watch it or something. But then I heard some good reviews and I watched it, and I'm like 2 episodes in, and yeah, I think it's good. It's good, and it draws you in, and it's just a story well told, and every episode is like a short movie in and of itself. So I can't remember the last show I had where after one episode I'm like, oh fuck, I can't wait till I can watch the next episode lah. So if you also like me on the fence, and maybe you've watched the 3 previous seasons, give it a shot, man. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's formulaic, but they've made it work pretty well this time around, I would say.
Yeah.
They have very interesting. I think that one of the characters in particular has been very well thought out and everything. And it leads to a very iconic moment in the season also lah, which has led to
okay. Yeah. Okay.
No, okay, I won't spoil, but it has led to like a song from the past suddenly making it back on the Billboard charts, and that in itself being a story also lah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure you haven't got there yet because you've only watched a couple episodes.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah. You haven't got there. But when you get there, then you understand what I'm saying. And everyone who has watched that scene, and you're like, it's okay, this is pretty iconic scene, yeah.
But then now you give me something to look out for already.
There's something to look out for. That's the whole idea of Stranger Things. It's like,
yeah, but then now when I see
all
the
these
song,
references.
when I see the song,
and everything,
I would be like, oh, okay. It would have been even more surprising if I didn't really know to expect this.
But everyone was talking about it on the internet.
I haven't seen that everyone.
Everyone is like, you open anything,
you're
YouTube,
the first person who mentioned this that I've heard. Maybe it's because
there's this thing called social media.
Maybe because when it was happening in the periphery, I didn't take notice. But then now when it's front and center, you tell me. I knew I should have just told you, okay, stop. When the moment you said, fuck. Now.
But I think, like you, I was a bit apprehensive about starting Stranger Things, because to me it's like same shit, different season again, But I just feel this season they've done the setups and payoffs properly, lah. And there is character growth.
Okay. I feel you're gonna give away something else. So I just watch it and just ignore whatever Terrence said just now.
Just being enthusiastic about your One Shiok Thing, and this is the response I get.
This is a backhanded shit on my One Shiok Thing now. You're taking away some future Shiokness that I would have experienced if you didn't mention that.
It's not. It's completely
backhanded shitting on my One Shiok Thing.
It's partaking in your One Shiok Thing. Which is the idea of One Shiok Thing anyway. It's for everyone to be able to partake in it and be able to, everyone let's rave about it together. So don't shit on your own One Shiok Thing.
It's still a backhanded shit on by you. So now this is even more insidious than just shitting on it directly, yeah. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that episode.
Yes.
And we will talk to y'all soon.